Hello again, I am Sir Havoc and welcome to this episode of the Amx Cdc review. So, the test server is up and the new tanks are out, and I'm wanting to do a review of the new Amx Cdc. First and foremost because I'm a lover of the FCM 50T, and I figured that if I love that tank, there's a good chance I'm going to love this one. Secondly is, I have a Batchat, and I have been wanting to train a Batchat crew in a premium tank for a long time. I did used to do it in my FCM 50T, but as the Batchat's a medium tank and the FCM 50T is a heavy tank, there's a penalty there. So, the Amx Cdc Chasseur De Char. It was a tank that was never meant to be, and it's now being honoured by Wargaming and been brought into the game. So in this video, I want to look at this tank. I want to look closely. I want to show you some bits. I've been playing it on and off today, and I want to show you what I've noticed, what I think is good, and what I think could really benefit the players that might be considering buying this tank. We're going to look at some training ground comparisons to the FCM. We're going to look at some clips in battle, and then we're going to look at our overall game to show you what this tank is really all about. Cheers. The Amx Chasseur De Char. Please don't blame me if my French is wrong. I never was any good at French classes. I'm going to call it the Amx Cdc. This is the new premium tank on the test server. I've had some good games in this today, and I want to show you some clips and a game from this. The big question is Amx Cdc or FCM 50T. So let's go a little bit closer into this and see if we can together find out what we might think is a better tank to use. Well, here they are together. The FCM 50T is a heavy tank, whereas the Amx Cdc is a medium, which means you can actually train your Batchat crew in the new CDC. The tanks appear very similar in nature. The CDC is lower profile but has a bigger turret, which is a bigger target. However, I think that the Cupola's probably harder to hit on the CDC, but that's irrelevant because of its poor armour. You can see from this clip that the tanks are pretty much the same size. FCM 50T standing higher, and the CDC has a slope back. But the rear of the FCM 50T has sloped armour which sometimes bounces shots. It doesn't seem that the CDC has that. The CDC has much bigger drive wheels, which hopefully act as spaced armour, which could give extra protection between HE and heat. So, that's cool. The gun depression is 2 degrees difference, with the CDC having 2 degrees extra over the FCM 50T. The FCM 50T has 8 degrees gun depression. The CDC has 10 degrees gun depression, which can make a big difference, and I'll show you that later on in the game. Just take a second to look at them two and see the differences. As you can see, the Amx Cdc has 100 less hit points than the FCM 50T, and it's 20 ton lighter. However, it has 200 extra horsepower, giving it a top speed of 57 over 51. And I can tell you, it gets there a lot faster than the FCM 50T. The traverse speed is the same, however the Amx Cdc is a lot more lightly armoured than the FCM 50T. The Amx Cdc has 30, 20, 20 hull and the same turret, as opposed to the FCM 50T having 120 on the front, 80 on the side and rear, and 120 on the front, 80 on the sides, and 60 on the rear of the turret. The gun is exactly the same for damage and penetration, however, the CDC does have a higher rate of fire, which does make a big difference. The CDC also has a faster turret traverse speed. The FCM 50T has 10 meters extra view range than the CDC, which can make a lot of difference given the fact that the main difference between these two tanks is the FCM 50T has premium matchmaking, which means it will only ever see a tier 9, whereas the Amx Cdc does not have premium matchmaking, which means it can see tier 10 tanks. And in that scenario, an extra 10 meters of of view range does go a long way. Moving on to the guns. On the left we have the FCM 50T gun, on the right we have the CDC gun. As you can see, caliber 90. FCM 50T has 8 rate of fire. The gun on the Chasseur De Chars has 8.22. Damage and penetration stats are the same as I said earlier. However, the gun dispersion on the 50T is a 0.36 as opposed to 0.34 on the Amx. That means the Amx is a more accurate gun, and I can say that it did feel like that when I was playing it. The aiming time on the CDC is also 0.1 of a second faster, so it's a very small amount, but it does make a big difference in the game. Here we have a turret traverse test. We know that the CDC has a 2 degrees faster turret traverse, but let's see what that looks like in real life. It means that the CDC can do 360 degrees about 2 seconds faster than the FCM 50T. Now, the track traverse is the same. Both of these tanks have 50% cruise. And as you can see, sure as eggs are eggs, they finish at the same time. Next we have a race. Let's see who's fastest. Now this is where the CDC is going to come into its own. It knocks spots off of the FCM 50T for acceleration. And it gets up to that top speed way faster. It leaves it for dust really. And that is what the FCM 50T was always lacking. Here I'm doing a slight manoeuvre, so it's a slightly different thing. We're going to take off together and then just turn and just see what the two tanks look like as they turn together. Now the Amx has to do a wider turn, but it doesn't lose pace on the FCM. Then it quickly catches up and overtakes. The CDC is a lot more manoeuvrable than the FCM 50T, and that is going to keep it alive. Next up we did some dogfights. Amx 50 CDC against the 50T. Straight at each other, auto aim on, and let's fire.
Permission to engage.
Both the tanks missed their first shot. Well, I can say from playing this tank, that doesn't happen very often. It fires very well on the move. Now the CDC has higher rate of fire, but the FCM 50T has more hit points. I get lucky and set fire to the 50T and ammo
Yeah,
rack,
I got ammo rack, my engine
which
is
making
damaged.
this contest pretty easy for me. You can see as the CDC moves around the 50T, there's no problem jinking in and out. However, I would say this still
And the
does
first
not
hit
have
was
the
with
mobility to circle tanks, especially at high tiers.
Yep, my
So it can be used for an ultra quick aggressive flanker, using its speed and acceleration to get to different points of the map. I do not think you're going to want to get too up close and personal with this tank unless you've got support. Now, we both missed our first shot, but this time I missed my second shot. So let's see what happens. I'm trying to angle in such a way here that I can get
your
a
accuracy of this.
deflection maybe from the tracks. Just turning just before he hits. That didn't work out. It did in an earlier game. He ammo racked me there. I quickly fixed that. I'm trying to use that speed and acceleration to get away from his gun.
Enemy armor is hit.
Managed just to squeeze in before he could hit me. I just managed to get him.
I was reloading
That
one
was
more
fun.
second.
Next up is a clip from a battle. We're halfway through here, we're on fjords. I'm just trying to show you how I can use that speed and acceleration to get across the map to take on some tanks. Of course, this is the test server, so you've got to remain things can change.
Target acquired. Penetration.
And that's what I mean by using this as a fast flanker. You can really get into position and, you know, get some damage down. Now what this would be really good for is when you're on the cleanup at the end of the match, if you've managed to stay alive and there's some hit points to be had, you can get there. Look at this, for example. There's the new Panther 8.8 premium tier 8 German medium tank. He's against the CDC. I'm way off. You'll notice that I quickly get up to 50 kilometers an hour even going uphill. So even uphill I'm reaching these speeds and it's not a problem. What I'd like you to pay attention to as I come up here is the deflection I take off of the tracks, and this is what I think them big tracks will be good for. So as I come round, I try to just show him my side, and just before he fires, tilt towards him to get the deflection.
Ready to fire.
He makes the first shot.
Double stowage is hit. We're lucky it didn't blow.
Keep my angle sharp, hits the tracks for 0 damage. And I think if you mastered that, you could get good at that with these tanks.
Gotcha.
Now in this clip I'm against a Type 62A, a tier 10 match. And I'm using my gun to speed to dodge his shot and tracking him. So I tracked him once and I dodged a shot. I got suckered into firing them, but I managed to pull back into cover. Now I've got no armour whatsoever. I just wanted to show how punchy this gun was. It was nice.
Enemy armor
Cracked again.
damaged. Enemy is hit.
Able to put another one into him. Now this has got great gun depression, this tank, so although I took a shot there was no need to. I could have pulled back, and it's got a nice low profile. And that was a flanking shot from the side, if you notice the mini-map there. But here comes this him to finish me off, and I managed to finish him off before he could get to me. So here I am on the test server. Now, I said at the beginning that this tank was actually a tank destroyer in real life. It weren't a medium tank. Obviously, Wargaming would like to have this as a medium tank so it can train medium tank crews. So, I would recommend you use it a bit like a tank destroyer at the beginning. You know, until them spaces open up for you to move forward, sit back, use the long view range, use the good accurate gun. Now, you can see the gun depression there. I'm actually up way farther forward than what I need to be. Now I'm just getting used to this gun at this point, so I'm not, you know, getting my shots quite aimed right. I believe I made that one, but I do miss some shots in this game. And when we look at the scores later, I want you to bear that in mind, that, you know, when you play a new tank, you're not used to the shell velocity, you miss moving shots. So there's another look at the gun depression. Look at that, 10 degrees. Them guys would barely see a thing. If they could hit me, they would be lucky. And I can just sit there and pluck away at them all day long. And that sort of gun depression keeps you alive. What a beautiful tank. I love this camo. It's like a tree camo. If you look at it, it's like having trees painted on it, like real tree. Jack pike. So I'm just being patient in this game. There's nothing for me to shoot at the moment. I know I can do some nice shots through there. So if you're ever on an encounter map, remember that position through there. I'm not in a rush to rush forward. So that's a miss there. And again, if I'd had this tank for any length of time, I'd have made that shot. So there's one shot that I could have made. There's probably about 6 shots I could have made if I was experiencing this tank, which would have took me right up into like almost 4,000 or 5,000 damage. See the accuracy there? Pinpoint accuracy. Now that's over 450 meters. I make the second shot there as well, just before my allies made the shot. Now my game glitched here, because I would have killed that tank. I had a glitch and it didn't enable me to shoot the shot, so I would have had an extra kill. So here I go. I'm quite confident now that I can move up and have a little look. I can be a bit bolder. Again, I don't know what the camo value is of this tank. I've not checked it out on Tank Inspector, but it feels quite good. I can feel myself taking shots and not being seen in a lot of places in a lot of these games. Oh, here we go. Another one for the taking. And just managed to fudge it up long enough. But I believe I made that shot. So the shell travels quite fast. And you can see it's normally always straight down the line. Now, that's a 500 meter shot there. Artillery. That's a 515 meter shot there. So the gun, you know, it feels really punchy and it feels mega accurate. And whether it will be, that's my mistake there. Whether it will be when this comes to the real game, I don't know. But if it stays like that, then I mean the FCM 50T gun is accurate. Yeah, it's really accurate and really good. But this just does feel a little bit more accurate.
Enemy armor is damaged.
And I think, you know, that extra bit of reload speed does seem like it makes a difference.
Enemy is hit. Penetration.
Now this is quite funny. He just takes a tumble. I'm getting ready to mess him up. And he goes in there. And I think it's an accident. And then you watch this. Here comes the next one.
Target acquired.
And so is the test server, I'm afraid. But here's the gun depression again.
Enemy armor is hit. Where'd they go? Penetration. Ready to fire.
Try to get a sneaky one with auto game, but it doesn't work.
Let's find another target.
Now, in this game, I think there's about 6 shots I miss that I could have hit,
Armor is destroyed.
which would have given me well over another 1,000 damage. Look at this one. Should have made that one easy. One reason or another I didn't, but the bullet went where I aimed. I missed that shot. Another one there. So the tree's hiding me at the moment, so I'm not being spotted. Another one there. So the gun is plenty capable on this tank. It really is. Another one there. That's the only shot I fired where I think it went wayward. I mean, I wasn't fully aimed in, but that did just go dip and go slightly to the right. So that's not me, that one. So this is a typical game. This is what I'd call a typical game. This isn't an ace tanker game or some super game. This is what I would expect an average player to have in this tank.
Target acquired.
Shooting on the move.
Penetration.
And there you go. Let's look at the post-game stats. So here we are. Victory. 1518 XP with premium. Okay, it was a second class. I've done 3,233 damage with 1,000 XP. Now, I think that could easily have been closer to 5,000, which would have made that an ace tanker game. Had I been playing a bit more with that tank and getting used to the shell velocity a bit more. I mean, it was 90,000 credits, which is great for a credit grinder. You know, that's not a fantastic game, but that is the game you can expect to have in this tank. So what do we think about this then? What are your thoughts? Write them in the comment below. I think it's a close call. I love the FCM 50T, but I love the Amx Cdc as well. I think they do both jobs very well. I like the fact that the 50T does sometimes bounce shots. However, you can't rely on that with the 50T. It didn't really feel like this CDC was bouncing many shots when I was getting hit, apart from the odd track shot. The gun feels better, definitely feels better on this, and the gun depression definitely helps, especially with the low profile of the turret. Really, really keeps you safe. I think this all boils down to whether you've got a French heavy you want to grind your crew for, or a French medium you want to grind your crew for. I've got both. Am I going to buy the CDC? I don't know. I couldn't tell you at this point. I'm happy I got the 50T. If money was no object, I probably would definitely get it, but it is. I would love to have it. I'd love to grind my back chat crew in it. Is it worth the money? Yeah, it's definitely worth the gold. You would definitely have fun in that tank. That being said, I believe it's not a beginner's tank. If you're new to the game and you're not privy to a bit of peekaboo and going, you know, really not hold down, you've got to go turret down, but develop your game before you jump into this tank, because you know you'll suffer otherwise. I got away with it because I played a 50T, but new players won't. So that's it really. I would say they're a similar tank. One's more slightly armoured and less manoeuvrable, one's fast and more manoeuvrable, lightly armoured. The gun feels pretty much the same, slight difference, better DPM on one, but pretty much the same. Especially given the fact that you don't fire round after round after round after round all the time, which negates that little bit of reload speed that the CDC has. On the whole, they both seem like excellent tanks, and I would recommend them to anyone. So, if you're taking a choice, I would literally say, what are you going to use for Clan Wars? Batchat or the heavy French tanks? Pick with which one you want to train the best crew. Thank you very much for tuning in. Before you go, I would like to say that this Wednesday, on the 4th, in Twitch TV, there is a live stream giveaway. We are giving away a Tier 8 premium tank of your choice. We're giving away 3 Tier 3 or 4 premium tanks of your choice. And we're giving away 1 Tier 5 or 6 premium tank of your choice. This is a completely flexible giveaway where people can choose what tanks they need. There are some conditions. You do need to follow my channel if you want to be applicable to win. But following the channel doesn't cost any money. If you turn up and you have brought no friends with you and your name gets picked, you have a choice of any Tier 5 or 6 premium tank. And we'll gift that to you, okay? The reason it's 5 or 6 is sometimes Tier 5s are better for the crew you want. So if you want to train up a German medium crew, you're going to go for the T25 rather than, you know, I don't think there is a Tier 6 one. So we're keeping it flexible. For the big Tier 8 premium tank, there's another condition. You need to bring at least 3 people with you that haven't been on my stream before, okay? Because obviously I'm trying to get my stream as popular as I can, as quick as I can. If you manage to bring 3 friends with you, that means there's 4 of you there. All 4 of you stand a chance to win the Tier 8 premium tank. If one of you gets picked, the other 3 then needs to vouch for them in chat, so we know that he's actually there with 3 friends. That means you all need to be pretty active. Now, there is something in for the friends as well. So if you do win, the 3 people that come with you, the 3 people that you attended with that night, all get a Tier 3 or a Tier 4 premium tank of their choice. Obviously, if there isn't a Tier 4 one they want, they can go for a Tier 3. Most people will go for the Tier 4. Okay, so that's a flexible giveaway. It's this Wednesday, the 4th of February, 6 PM till 9:30 PM on my Twitch channel, which is there. And the time zone is GMT. Thank you once again for tuning in. Please don't forget to subscribe and like, it really does help the channel, and I'll see you next time.